Good afternoon and welcome to our lesson today where I wanted us to talk about the structure of a report. Remember, in the last lesson we were able to capture the details that revolve around a report. We were able to identify a report as a detailed document that gives an account of or gives an tries to relate to an issue that had previously happened. So it is a report, it is a document that gives an account of what transpired. Okay, remember we were also able to identify the different types of reports where we said we have the solicited reports, which are reports that have been requested for. We also have the ordinary reports. Now, the ordinary reports are the routine reports that you would get in an organization. We're also able to see the annual general reports. These are reports that are produced annually or once in an year. We were also able to look at the special reports. Now, the special reports are reports on special or on an inquiry. Yeah, these are reports that have been requested for to look into a specific issue. Okay, then we were able to identify and state the different purposes of reports. Why are reports important, yeah, in an organization? We're able to say that reports are important because they enable the organization to assess the management problems that are facing the organization. They are also very useful when an organization is launching a new product. It also helps in problem solving. Okay, yeah, so those are the different, or that's why reports are important in an organization. I hope up to that point I was clear. So what we need to look at now is what we call the structure. Yeah, structure means what are some of the features that you would always get in a report. Okay, now some of these features, just like the same when we mentioned about letters, we also mentioned about features of a business letter, where we said a letter should have a date, it should have a ref, it should have the addressee address, it should have the salutation, it should have the subject, it should have the body, it should have the complementary clause, etc. So likewise, a report also has got certain features which are very important for you to get to know about them. Now, what are some of the features that you get in a report? One of the features is that a report must always have a title. Yeah, when we talk about a title, we are trying to say that it should have a title which reads like report on. So when you talk about report on, you're saying a report on a different issue that you've been told to investigate. So all reports must have a title. Okay, and now this title is very, very important, and it normally comes at the beginning of that report. For example, if you've been requested to make a report about maybe a report on loss of items, okay, so what would your title be? Your title would be report on stolen items. Okay, so that becomes the title. The other important thing that we must also make sure we consider when you're writing a report is what we call the terms of reference. Now, the terms of reference, or what you call the TOR. Yeah, this is very important. This is the section that shows you, or that shows the source of power that has been given to you. Yeah, there is to prepare the report. Yeah, so this is that part that it shows, it shows somebody who has mandated them to write that report. Yeah, then this is the same part that talks about the report. What is the report about? It also indicates the date when you are asked to make that report. It also shows the date which you are supposed to submit the report. It will also state the scope of the report and the statement of submission. So basically, this part revolves around the who is writing the report, who asked them to write or to carry out that investigation, when is the report supposed to be done, what is the report about, when were you requested to make that report, and when is the report being submitted. Now, it has got the several W's. We've got the who asked you to make the report, what is the report about, when were you requested to make that report, when is the deadline, or when are you supposed to submit that report, and the statement of submission. So the terms of reference refers to those particular features that I have mentioned above. The other part that you get in a report is the methodology, or the procedure under which you are able to carry out your report. So for example, if you're writing a report on stolen items, yeah, so how are you conducting your research? I mean, how did you investigate? For example, you would call for an interview, you would give out questionnaires for people to fill in, you can call for a meeting, and you can call over the phone. Now, those are what we call the procedures. Which procedures did you use to make or to collect information? Okay, now once you've done that, you have that other part that we call the findings. From your investigation, what did you find out? Perhaps if you're talking about loss of items, maybe you realize, or you found out that from your investigation, you found out that perhaps students are leaving their items, in classes, and later on come to claim that they have lost their items. Yeah, perhaps maybe from your investigation you found out that there's some people who have been coming, or who have been sneaking into the organization. Okay, these are some of your findings. So what did you find out when you carried out that report? What are some of the things that you are able to come up with? And now these findings are normally written in numbered form. Numbered means 1, 2, 3, or A, B, C, D. Yeah, so you don't write them in a report form. I mean, you don't write them in a paragraph form. You write them in numbered form. Okay, then there is that other part that we call the conclusion. And the conclusion, we say, this is a statement that either agrees that it is true that the matter being investigated was right, or it disagrees. Okay, so it says, for example, we can say, in conclusion, I realized that the loss of items was caused by negligence of the students. Yeah, or in conclusion, I feel that we have been having people who have been sneaking into the organization. So you're trying to either agree with the report or disagree with the report. Okay, that's the part we call the conclusion. Then we have now the last part, which we call the recommendation. Now this is where you give your ways. Yeah, you give ideas or you give advice on what you think needs to be done, so that in future some of the issues that you have investigated do not recur. Okay, so in conclusion, we say recommendation is that part where you give advice and way forward on the findings. Yeah, and also remember, this part should also be numbered. So you can say, for example, from the above conclusion, I would recommend the following. Then you list number one. Yeah, all classes should be locked immediately the students are out of class. Okay, then another maybe recommendation would be students were urged to be careful with their personal properties. Now this part I've said you need to number it. Okay, then take note that for a report to be complete, it must be signed. Okay, just like in a letter we said a letter should have somebody who signs. Yeah, down there at yours faithfully so and so, then their name and their designation. Likewise, a report should be signed, and at the bottom there we need to write who compiled the report. So the report was compiled by, for example, Faith Kavu. Okay, what is the signature? So the signature would be there. What is the designation? The designation means what is your position in the organization. For example, Faith Kavu, secretary, and also it should have the date. So date is when you are submitting that report. So in summary, I've given you the contents or the structure of how to make or how to write a report. Remember, this is a very important question in an exam. Okay, so what happens in an exam? They will give you a summary of certain things, a scenario. So from this scenario, they will ask you to write a report. Remember, we said you've got different types of reports. Yeah, we've got the annual general meeting reports. These are reports that are held once or annually. And we've got routine reports. Routine reports are reports that are normally written within a certain time frame. For example, we could have weekly reports or we could have monthly reports. So now this depends with the organization. So what I will do in the next lesson, I will give you templates or examples of reports, so that if you're able to get this kind of a question in an exam, you should be able to know how to write it. Okay, otherwise for now, I wish you a very nice afternoon. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.